In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make a beautiful ombre using Crystalac's Brite Tone to glitter your tumbler. I have a sanded and prepped tumbler from Mother Tumbler, and the colors of spray paint that I used are both from Rustoleum. They are light turquoise and candy pink. I have allowed my spray paint to gas off for about 24 to 48 hours, and that's because the spray paint's a solvent-based product and we're going in with a water-based product, so we want to make sure that our Brite Tone won't repel. Brite Tone is my preferred way to glitter. I also use the glitter glue, but that's for more detailed designs. So when I glitter my tumbler, I like to go in with a thicker than normal coat of Brite Tone. Now, if you've been watching my tutorials, you probably hear me say that a lot, but that is just how I like to apply my glitter. My other coats of Brite Tone will not be as thick as the first coat. I like to glitter my tumblers from the side, and I usually start at the bottom and put a bead of Brite Tone and drag it up with my finger like a squeegee around the tumbler. I also make sure that I'm not over touching the tumbler, and I'm going to let this self-level. You don't want to push your finger too hard against the Brite Tone because you don't want to create any streaks or dragging marks. You really just want to have the lightest pressure ever and make sure that you're not missing any spots of Brite Tone. Now, the two glitters that I'll be using, I actually got to name for the Glitter Heart Company. The first one is Autumn Rose, and the second one is called Ocean Avenue. And those are the fine XL cuts of glitter of their two other colors that I love so much, Marina Bay and Made You Blush. I really love using the fine XLs because they just give off more sparkle than those fine glitters. So it's still a fine, just a little bit bigger cut. So you're really getting all that sparkle and dazzle and just beautifulness. So I have allowed my Brite Tone to self-level, and I like to start at one side, and I like to just start to lightly shake out my glitter. Obviously, towards the right end, the top of the tumbler, we want to have the blue a little bit more saturated. And the glitter is going to look wet. That is how I'm going to describe that the way the glitter is going to look. I'm going to really saturate the top of the tumbler with the Ocean Avenue, but I'm not going to fully saturate it towards the middle because this is how we're going to get our ombre effect. And also, please don't yell at me for mixing these glitters underneath. I did keep these two mixed together, and I have them, and they look super pretty mixed together. So you could easily use this for a peekaboo or some other tumbler that you're working on. So now down at the bottom, I'm doing that same thing where I'm using Autumn Rose, and I'm going to saturate the bottom of the tumbler more. And as I work towards the middle, I'm going to start lightly shaking it out. And that much, there's not really a lot of glitter that's falling underneath of there. It may seem like a lot, but really it's not. So what I like to do is take it off the turner and hold my tumbler at an angle and start alternating between the colors so that they can fall into each other. And the more you do this, the more it'll blend and the more it will start to soak into that Brite Tone and give you that really pretty ombre look that we're going for. The turner that I'm using is just a simple turner from Amazon. It's actually my favorite turner because the arms are removable. There's no screw. They just go right back in there very easily. So I have a bunch of these. I think I have 11 total, but 6 of them on one power cord and one that I like to glitter on. And then I'll just easily move them over to my other turners and I'll just glitter on this one right here in front of me. Now we're really just going to work on blending, and you'll know that your ombre is nice and done once you have that seamless look where the colors are just nicely blended into each other and your Brite Tone is no longer having that wet look. Now, don't forget about the bottom. What I like to do and what you'll see here is I messed up a little bit and I applied my glitter a little bit too early because since we were working on the middle of the tumbler, I forgot about the bottom of it. So by the time I was ready to glitter the bottom, some of the Brite Tone had already dried in a few spots. and I didn't want to have to re-glitter the tumbler or the bottom. So after I put some glitter on there, I just took my finger, and because this is a water-based product, I just moved that Brite tone around and then reapplied the finer cut of the glitter. This one is Made You Blush to the bottom. Now, because I used a thicker than normal coat of Brite tone, I'm going to allow this to dry overnight instead of the normal 4-hour dry time for Brite tone. Now, when doing Crystalac tumblers, you want to make sure that you can get your glitter as flat as possible. So what I like to do is, while my tumbler is still wet, you can go in with your finger and gently tap down any pieces of glitter that you see that's sticking up, or you can go in and seal with the glitter glue. I love using the glitter glue. It really helps fill in all of those peaks and valleys that you have on your tumbler. So now that I have allowed my tumbler to dry overnight, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to dry brush off any excess glitter that may be there so that we don't mess up the ombre when I go in and apply my glitter glue. The reason that we're going to be using the glitter glue here is to fill in all of those peaks and valleys like I just said, but it will also help us cut down on those layers of Brite tone. Now, I cannot stress that to you enough. If you want to get your tumblers done the epoxy-free way and in a timely manner, you want to use as few coats of Brite tone as you can, so that you are managing your time and getting your tumbler done. And the glitter glue just really helps us manage our time. I love using the Wet n Wild blush brushes from the Dollar Tree because, one, they're only $1. Two, they just have amazing coverage. They barely show any streaks, if any at all, and you can also use them with the Flippin' Awesome paints. They just look really great. So when I use the glitter glue, I'm going to start down over Autumn Rose first, and then I'm going to go into my Ocean Avenue. And I'm doing this because I really want to keep these colors true. I don't want to have any mixing right at the very top and bottom of each of these colors. But then I'll go in and blend the middle area just in case I did miss any of the stray glitter with my dry brushing. But the dry brushing really helps get off all of that excess glitter. I highly recommend you do that. You just use a hard dry bristle brush and it will just literally just get all of the excess glitter off of there. Now, I'm not going to show you all of my coats of Brite tone, but all we're going to do is we're going to do 2 coats of glitter glue to seal and make sure that all of those peaks and valleys are nice and filled in. And we're going to allow the 2-hour dry time in between our coats of glitter glue. Then after that, we can start in with our coats of Brite tone. You want to apply your coats of Brite tone a minimum 4 hours of every 4 hours dry time, so it could be longer. And we are going to allow our Brite tone to start to build up to that pretty shine that we all love. You can't really rush the process. You want that shine to build up, so you're going to need to start building your layers. It is different than epoxy in the fact that if I was using epoxy, I'd probably just need 1 coat of epoxy on this to be decal ready after a sanding. But for Brite tone tumblers, I'm probably going to need about 6 to 8 coats on top of the glitter with some light sanding in between there to really help even out the Brite tone and get that glassy finish. Now, next week, I'm going to be taking this ombre and showing you how to make a beautiful Wild About Winter Peekaboo Crystalac tumbler. All the products that I used will be linked below in the description. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and a big shout out to my creative community and all of the babes in there for the support.